the podcast where real stories and real conversations help us to make sense of life. From personal journeys to expert advice, each episode gives you something useful, whether it's a new way to think about things, a helpful tip, or just a reminder that you're not in this alone. Let's keep growing, keep connecting, and keep living life together.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Living Life with James. Today, I'm joined with Dustin Anderson. He is a husband, he is a father, he is a comedian who's gone viral for the way that he finds humor in everyday life, which I cannot wait to talk about. He's built a huge following with his Unpopular T-Shirts, which we'll talk about, and his ability to kind of turn everyday struggles into laughter, which I appreciate and I love. So I wanted to bring Dustin on today because I really believe that comedy and mental health, they go hand in hand. Laughter doesn't erase pain, but it makes it a little lighter to carry with us. And Dustin does better than most when it comes to his comedy. So please help me welcome Dustin Anderson.
Wow. Thank you. I feel like I just got a Lifetime Achievement Award. That was unexpected.
Listen, you deserve it. I somehow, as I mentioned, got caught up in the algorithm of good old TikTok and then finding you on Instagram. Your stuff has me in stitches. You specifically, you just did a bit about homework and teachers. And having 3 children myself from middle school to high school, I can't tell you how I appreciate that. And I'm using the Papa John, Papa Murphy reference. I want to shoot them emails. I want to send this to all the teachers. And I said, James, pump your brakes. Dustin, you're covering it all. And I mean, it lightens mental health in my life. So you're doing your thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That wasn't kind of when I set off on doing all this, that wasn't the goal, but it's surprising how many people reach out and say just some version of, I really needed that today. Just like the dumbest thing that I could possibly joke about. And then they'll reach out and be like, that was actually really helpful. Thank you.
You're talking about stuff that we can relate to. And I think that's the best comedy. Whether you're talking about traffic, driving a car, family, love, life, relationships, that makes the impact.
Yeah, I think in some ways, I mean, you can do comedy a lot of different ways, and there's dark comedy, and there's like people joke about the most terrible things. For me, it's kind of, I think sometimes it can be just a love letter to the thing that you care the most about. Like I make a ton of jokes about my wife, and you might on the surface hear that and be like, oh, he must not, like deep down, maybe he's got some problems with his wife. No, she's the best thing in my life, so I'm going to talk about her all the time.
Listen, that's probably one of the best marriage couples therapy suggestions, right? When you guys can laugh and have a good time, that improves communication and the overall relationship. So kudos to you.
Yeah, thank you. It doesn't always work. There are some definite swings and misses, and sometimes when you miss pretty hard. But overall, it's been good.
Like I say in therapy, it's not about the argument, it's about the repair. So Dustin, as long as you're recovering, you got it made.
It's not about the argument. It's about the repair. That's it. I'm going to write that down. Hang on.
Listen, I want to shout out in one of your gifts. If you are inserting any of this, please give reference to James the therapist.
You can have all these people show up on your pod. Like they're all going to be listening and writing you emails. And you're like, where did they come from? Yep, those are my people.
Love it. Oh yeah, these are my comedian followers. Dustin, if we had 30 seconds to describe you, what would you want people? So if you had to describe yourself in 30 seconds, what would you want people to say about Dustin Anderson?
That's a terrible thing to ask me to say, because it's probably going to be mean about myself. I hate compliments, so I'm definitely not going to give any to myself. I would say this is Dustin. He's doing his best. He got married young and had a bunch of kids, and he's trying to do the best that he can. And when he messes up or sees somebody else mess up, he's going to make a joke about it. That's probably it.
Anytime I do therapy and life coaching, I've said it a million times. I always say, keeping it real, keeping it 100. That's what you just described.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. I mean, sometimes I'm making jokes about the dumbest thing possible, and I should say at this stage in our conversation, now you're a psychotherapist.
I am.
When you asked me to do this, there was a part of me that was like, is this a podcast or is this more of an appointment that my wife scheduled? And she was like, listen, my husband is a narcissist. He's only going to come on here and talk to you if you tell him that he's doing a podcast and the whole world's going to love it. But and now I forgot what else we were talking about.
Well, listen, we're going to bring Lindsay, right? We're going to bring 2 for 1. We're getting a podcast, we're feeding that narcissism, and we're getting some therapy in.
If she shows up on your end, right, if we like conference her in, I'll know this is an intervention. But I think where I was headed with all that is you could probably, by the end of this, you probably could diagnose me medically, which is why I don't, as a rule, talk to therapists, because you can't, like, it's like going to the police station when you've committed a crime. Like, they can't catch you if you're not there. But so you could probably tell me why this is, but sometimes I'll make jokes about dragons or like anything that has nothing to do with me. And maybe in that moment, it's because I don't want to laugh about me because I'm not cool with whatever I just did. So let's talk about dragons instead.
For this podcast, my notepad is away, my therapist hat is off, and I'm enjoying my time because I really firmly love comedy and I really think it nourishes the soul, as cheesy as that sounds, and we need to laugh at life. So yeah, again, I appreciate you being here. I want to know, talk about therapy and mental health. I mean, let's get into your thoughts. Actually, let's get into your thoughts about a little more in depth about mental health. What do you think in relation between therapy and therapy, psychology, and comedy? Mental health and psychology, mental health and comedy. You get it.
I've got no history with therapy, but as far as just like the way I think about mental health and the way it connects to comedy, there's Tina Fey said, well, I'm a huge collector of quotes. I don't do anything with those. I don't live my life better, but I keep a huge stack of quotes that I've compiled on my desk. They're on my phone. I'm always adding to them. Tina Fey once said, you can tell how smart somebody is by what they laugh at. You can probably also tell how hurt somebody is or how much they're working on a certain thing or kind of where they are by what they laugh at or whether they laugh at certain things.
Yeah.
Because laughter is totally involuntary. So it's the most honest feedback you can get. And sometimes, I mean, you might hear something and you'll laugh at it and not expect that you would have laughed. And then you can have this moment afterwards where you're like, why did that hit me in a way? And then if you follow that thread, whether you want to or not, you might find that there's something down there that you could or should deal with.
Ladies and gentlemen, everyone listening, this is Dustin saying he actually is a therapist. I mean,
you put your notepad away, but I have mine out.
Listen, we're probably going to come up with this is actually not what we're doing. We're rehearsing for content for you, Dustin. That's what this is about. And I think this therapy route is a new, we got some stuff to come up. We got some content here for you.
Make me a therapist. You will ruin the world overnight. I promise you. We'll take people who need a little help and we'll make them a lot worse.
So this is marketing for the both of us.
Yeah.
Dustin, how about this? If therapy gave out punchlines instead of coping skills, what would yours be?
Like, to me as a therapy patient or as a therapist?
Yeah, if you were a therapist, so if you were a therapist and you gave out some punchlines instead of coping skills and helping people, what would yours be?
It's not really more of a punchline, but more of a tag. Like, I hope this helps is the name of my podcast. And I say that at a lot of the end of my dumbest videos and jokes.
Oops.
So that'd be probably how I would end the interaction. Like, whatever just happened, this was a mess for both of us. I hope that somehow this helped.
You can always, I always say, you can find a glimmer of hope. You can find a spark in something. That's brilliant. I hope this helps. Let's make sure we wrap up with that line. That's brilliant. Dustin, what's the joke that you think you've told that you thought would kind of kill, that you thought would land, but instead it made you want to kind of run under the stage, run behind the curtain? What's something, that experience that you've had that you think didn't do as well as you thought it did?
I used to be I would try to be a little more provocative, I think, early on, and a little less relatable. And I was doing this show once. It was a terrible way to do a show because they wanted me to do 30 minutes on stage and then take a 10-minute break and then come back and do another 30 minutes. This was not made clear to the crowd. So I did 30 minutes and then I was just gone. And people would see me like walking around and be like, hey, good job, you did a good show. And then all of a sudden I'm just back on stage 10 minutes later and they're like, well, I thought we were done with this guy. And I thought, here's my joke that's just gonna kill to get going on the second 30 minutes. And it was terrible, mean-spirited, and you can cut it out if you want, I would understand. But the joke was, so I've been running over a lot of people with shopping carts lately. And I don't mean running over people with shopping carts. I mean running over people with shopping carts. And everybody knows there's a problem with homelessness, but what are you willing to do about it? The crowd was appalled. They did not laugh any harder than you just didn't, which this tells me you're a good person and a wonderful therapist, because you didn't judge me, but also you didn't laugh. So you didn't enable my terrible sense of humor. And at the time I thought it deserved more. In hindsight, it deserved less.
Listen, I'm skating a fine line of keeping it real and being professional. The reality is, there's something to be said about that joke.
There is probably not a lot good, but you could write a book about that joke.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm laughing on the inside, Dustin. That's what's happening.
I appreciate that. As a comedian, I prefer that people laugh on the outside, but I also know that that joke didn't deserve it.
Yeah, well, you know that some people listen. You have a full family there. You got a wife and not just three children, three girls.
Four daughters.
Four daughters. I was thinking, Lindsay makes the fourth female, and wow.
Well, Lindsay made all the females.
Listen, I'm not going to be able to keep up with you. This is good. How do you handle this? How do you manage how do you handle this?
It's a lot. So I thought when we got married, I thought we were going to have 10 kids. I thought they were all going to be boys. We were all going to be playing football in the yard. This was my dream. And then 4 out of 4, every single time I predicted boy. We showed up to the doctor for that visit. Obviously it's a boy. I've got the name picked out, and 0 for 4. But you don't realize as a dad that, there's a thing daughters and dads have, that there's a closeness there where they get to a certain age and there's a little bit of tension, mom and daughter, and I think there's a little bit of tension, father and son. I don't know, but so I'm glad in hindsight, but it is a lot of people and they all are the same flavor and they team up relentlessly against me, not even on purpose.
How do you get through this?
I've threatened to get a shipping container and bury it in the yard and have a trap door. And the dog, Theo, he's also male, or he was. We took care of that, but Theo and I would just go down, this is the plan. Theo and I will just go down that trap door and just live in that shipping container. And we don't even need snacks. We just need quiet.
Listen, I'm right there with you. I got 3 kids, not 4, and definitely not 4 young ladies, but a shipping container sounds brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Throw the lifeline of snacks down there. Listen, I promised I wasn't going to therapize. As you said, 4 daughters. I was going to say, when you said waiting for those boys, I was going to say, I bet you got a pet, and he's got a human boy name. There we go. Okay, I'm turning it off now. You have Theo in the house.
Feel free to diagnose. Feel free to therapize. I'm not going to pay for it at the end, but I would be more than happy to take away a diagnosis from this.
I get the laughs. So yeah, you and Theo, he's got to be your buddy.
Yeah, he's in love with Theo and I are pretty similar in that we're both deeply in love with my wife.
Okay.
So whenever I'm out of town, he sleeps on my pillow. When I'm in town, he sleeps on the floor. He's not allowed, but
Oh.
he just follows my wife around, and she likes it. Well, she loves him, but it's a pretty lopsided relationship. So it's not, he likes me, but we don't end up spending a lot of quality time together.
Listen, it sounds like you have an amazing wife. I've seen you make reference on social media. I see your lines. I mean, Lindsay she sounds fabulous. I need to do a follow-up podcast with Lindsay.
If she were here right now, you would have asked me to step out of the frame, and I would be in the back room doing who knows what, and she'd be out here talking to you. She is the best.
How does one handle living with a comedian?
Ooh, yeah, I don't know. I think it's a conspiracy. She's just trying to get into heaven, like on different, she took the pathway of being a good person, but if that doesn't work, she never really know. Then maybe it's like, well, I put up with this guy for a really long time, or she like gives to charity, she recycles.
She besides the recycling, dealing with you, she said, now listen, I mean, this is a whole separate podcast, but I've been, going down these little dark paths of social media, and I read that on the 23rd, Dustin, in just a few days, the rapture is coming. I'll leave that right here.
The 23rd?
That's what I've heard.
This is terrible news for people like me whose wife is going to get sucked up to heaven, and I'm going to be left here to raise probably 2 out of the 4 kids. And I know which 2. 2 of these kids are a lot like their father, and it's going to just be the 3 of us starting on the 23rd.
Listen, I'm sorry to say, I mean, you're probably going to go to hell just for saying that piece right there.
Oh, that's not even, that won't even make the list when I get there and they're reading it to me.
Yeah. Well, the good news is that, half of your family and definitely your wife's gone. They have the point. So yeah, I've been seeing, again, the algorithm will pick up one little search, and somehow I'm seeing people talk about how you need to embrace the flight during the rapture. Now, listen, people that are listening, I'm not making fun of this. I'm just telling you my experiences and what I'm listening to. There's a whole way that when the rapture comes, Dustin, you will probably see half of your family going. You're supposed to look up into the sky, open your arms. There's a whole checklist out there.
I would like to know a couple things. One, what is it that you searched that led you there? How did you get there? Because and this is now me. Now you're on the sofa.
It's turned around. Something related to probably spirituality, or Lord knows, depending on the day and what I was dealing with kids. I mean, the what's next, what's happening, people, and or maybe I was searching actually, events of things to do and what's happening around me, and it came up as the rapture on the 23rd. So, that's an event, right?
I'm going to be really interested to see how it works out, because I've publicly said, and I'll eat crow if it happens, but I said that Jesus already came back, and it was in 2020 and we missed it. We weren't ready, and we're hoping that we get another chance, and it's probably going to be maybe an eclipse is going to be involved, but I don't know if there's an eclipse on the 23rd, or if there's just like an important baseball game or something. I don't know what they're building this around.
I'm going to insert like the mind blown emojis right now in this clip. You got some insight here.
You didn't expect all this, did you? You thought I was just a monkey with a microphone, and here I am bringing spirituality and therapizing both of us.
Listen, that's why I wanted to have fun. I was talking about mental health, but yeah, I could see you're not a one-hit wonder. You have a few tricks up your sleeves. You can talk about different categories here. So I want to spend a little more time on mental health. If anxiety had a voice, what would it say on stage? How would it present? If you were to make anxiety a thing during one of your shows?
I would not go to that show. But what would it say? I don't know.
What would it sound like on stage?
I know what it sounds like in my head, and it sounds like my fifth grade school teacher who, you should get the notepad out. Her name was Mrs. Nielsen. She was a sweetheart, but
Okay.
also I got punished for things that I didn't feel like I should have. And that's anxiety, isn't it? It's just like, look at everybody's looking at you and they don't like you. But you didn't do anything wrong, but they just don't like you anyway. So this is a terrible show that the anxiety is putting on and saying this into a microphone, but maybe the people listening are so attached and attracted to that voice that they're going to go and pay and sit anyway.
Is she going to be in the audience?
I don't know if she's alive.
Wow.
And I hope that she is, because she's a lovely lady. But if she is alive, Mrs. Nielsen, if you see this, please don't come to any of my shows or anywhere near me.
Yeah. I mean, Dustin, lean in real quick, because I put the notepad away, but this is trauma. This is trauma.
Okay, I'm going to write that down too. Yeah. This is trauma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're a little symptom of anxiety, but sure. God, let's bring this to the stage.
I'm going to draw a little picture of Mrs. Nielsen here. Also, this is, I don't know if you'll be able to see that. This is trauma, and that's Mrs. Nielsen.
Now I got to add artists to the mix here. Dustin, you're really good.
Do you want to go back and redo the intro now? Dustin Anderson, gifted comedian, artist, husband, father.
Well, the only way that we're going to deal with this anxiety of Miss Nielsen and trauma is we're bringing it to the light. So I think the mere fact that you just wrote her down, some art therapy in there, you're healing. You're healing for sure.
Thank you. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to have dreams about her tonight, and I'm going to call you tomorrow and say, please put me on the schedule for real. But if healing comes at the end, I'm all for it.
Well, I'm getting concerned that this is now shifting. I may not be a therapist. I may give a little stab at therapy. I mean, give up the therapy. I give a little stab at comedy. So maybe we're going to do a little role reversal. You do the therapy. I'll give it my best.
I'll move to where you live. You move to where I'll take over your practice. You take over my jokes, and here we go.
That was a TV show. That was Wife Swap. I mean,
I was thinking Freaky Friday, but Wife Swap is good too.
Even better. Well, I told you when I met you. So I said, who is this Dustin character? I'm finding you all over Instagram, TikTok. You're blowing up. You are a viral sensation. I got to give you the proper introduction. I was about to come on here and say you are a HGTV sensation with Chip and Joanna Gaines. This is the Dustin Anderson, a glass artesian. Thank you for stopping me. Shout out to Dustin Anderson, the one of millions out there.
Darn my integrity, because it's just right now occurring to me that I didn't have to stop you. And I could have had that beautiful intro that was earned by a completely different human, and added the fact that where I live, there's an anesthesiologist also named Dustin Anderson. And sometimes I get his mail. Like it's totally unearned. But the things you said on the front end were nice enough. I'll just be
okay. Well, thank you. But here's the shtick around Google searches, right? I mean, I think there's something to be said. I was hyping you up, reality TV star. Shout out Chip and Joanna Gaines. And I was really, I'm still impressed with you being the comedian and father and husband that you are, definitely. But there's a lot about Dustin Anderson. People Google Dustin Anderson, you'll see what comes up.
Yeah, you'll go see there's some rascals out there, some real Dustin Anderson rascals. Don't get mad at me for any of the stuff that they were up to, but there's a lot of good ones too.
Well, the good ones, Dustin, tell us about this comedy tour you're about to do. I saw something about October 3rd. You got a lot going on your plate.
Yeah, not a tour as of yet, but hopefully, I mean, we've got some things coming up. So anybody who wanted to see what that was all about could go check out my Instagram. Anything that comes up, I'll put it there. But just got a couple of shows coming up in St. George, Utah, October 3rd and 4th. They sold out pretty quick, which wow. I thought we were going to have to cancel the day before, because it was like, I'm not going to just show up in an empty theater. But it was very, very nice and kind of overwhelming. And now I need to write a show, apparently, for these people who are going to come.
And I'd like to do the introduction when you were here in Arizona.
Oh, great. Will you put that HGTV stuff in there?
Absolutely. And the anesthesiology piece. So
excellent.
Yeah. Listen, you're going viral. People are watching your stuff, Dustin. You're amazing. from the outside, it looks glamorous. Going viral looks glamorous, but how does it help or hurt mental health, in your opinion?
It is. There was Jim Carrey had that quote about, "I wish everybody could become rich and famous so they would see that that's not the answer." Now social media lets you get some degree of fame without getting rich, that's backwards. What you want is to be rich and not famous. Basically, the long and short of it is, if you get a lot of people to follow you on Instagram and TikTok, it will confirm for you that it means absolutely nothing, like not anything. And it's not good. It's not bad either. It's not destructive, or I would delete it all immediately, but it has no impact on anything.
I was going to say I agree completely. I disagree, because I think what it's saying, Dustin, you clearly have a fan base. I get that may not equate to money right now, but you're doing things to and for people, whether it's touching their day, whether it's having an impact, whether it's giving them that laugh in the midst of stress with kids, or going through an argument in a marriage, and they can look at your content and laugh. You're definitely making an impact. It'd be nice to attach the dollar, which I firmly believe will happen for you, but you're definitely making a difference.
Thank you. That's really nice. And I want to be clear. It's not, that sounded a lot like me saying, if I got money, it would be more, it would mean more. But if I could see, to me, it just like, there's a thing in my pocket that's just a glass screen in a plastic box. And sometimes I talk to it. And then when I open it up, it has different kind of lights on it. And sometimes the lights have bigger numbers than other people who talk into a glass box. But the fact that, thinking that there are actual real humans on the other side of that who are positively impacted, that's a very deep meaning to me. You just don't get that sense, whether it's true or not. That doesn't filter back to me, I guess.
And that's what's making you so successful at this, right? It's talking into that glass box and having kind of, I guess, just that freeness. I heard somebody say, a TikTok influencer saying something like, when you're doing these videos and you're talking, act like you're on a FaceTime call. And that's what resonates with people. That's what people want to see, right? I've definitely been going through my journey of lending the professional piece, but also trying to keep it real. And it's not always easy. You clearly got that magic, and that's what's touching people.
Well, thank you. That's very kind of you. I saw you mentioned that you were fairly new to social media, and you got quite a few people there in your community yourself. So what you're doing is resonating, and obviously, just by the nature of what you do versus what I do, I think you have the ability to make a giant impact on specific people. So congratulations for it. It seems like you're in it for the right reasons.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, the reason why you stood out to me, because listen, I use the platforms to talk about mental health and the importance of it. But I firmly believe I love comedy. I love humor. And as you do so flawlessly, there's something about just being able to talk and laugh at our hardships and real life situations that make it easier for us to cope, whether it's stress, whether it's anxiety, whether it's just getting through the day of having kids and marriages, right? We need that. So, there's a strong connection between mental health and comedy.
Yeah, I've made the connection before between comedy and basketball, where growing up, I watched Michael Jordan play basketball, and I never thought I was going to be Michael Jordan, but I would just find myself in the driveway shooting free throws because I saw Michael Jordan do it, and it was awesome, and I loved what he was doing. Comedy has given me a lot of what you're describing. It's an uplift, and it's a different way of thinking. It kind of rewires your brain a little bit, and it can fix a bad day or help. And so when I'm doing comedy, it's not because I think I can be Michael Jackson. I just love the art form, and it's given me a lot. So I'm kind of participating.
You're doing an absolutely amazing job at it. I will say you lost me for a second when we started talking basketball, but then you made up. Thanks for saying Michael Jackson. I get the references now, so that was helpful. You're killing it.
Did I say Michael Jackson?
You said Michael. Well, okay, so then Freudian slip, people. My pad is back out. You started with Michael Jordan basketball. While I know who he is, you lost me on the reference. You made up and you slipped then and said Michael Jackson. I was like, okay, I got it.
Okay, I'm gonna write down find out about Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
because that's somehow stuck in my head and I don't know why. This is helpful for me.
Well, this is helpful for me. I think we need to change the title. I was talking, comedy and mental health, but now I feel like we're kind of writing material for you. That's going to link a little bit better. There's a lot here.
Yeah, this is a bit of a writer's room now.
I'm feeling that. I'm excited.
Maybe I don't know what show we're writing, but I would watch it.
I can reach out to a few producers. That looks good. And the therapy piece may have to get tucked away or maybe I'll bring it to light with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'll talk to my HGTV people, see if we can make it.
I'll call the doctors. We're going to land something, Dustin. I promise you that. Dustin, okay, we're keeping going with comedy. I want to know, what was the weirdest? Listen, you've got some followers. You're on TikTok. You're on Instagram. Who knows what other platforms you're on? But I want to know, what is the weirdest DM that you've gotten after going viral and all of these people reaching out to you?
Ooh, the weirdest. It is like a 12-way tie for first. Man, there's a lot of negative, then there's there's less negative, but the negative ones are really negative.
Ooh.
Really dark, like wishing that my descendants would have specific diseases and things like that. And then there are the very not negative ones, which are almost always from men. And I think men are just by nature much bolder. And so it'll just be, and I don't get those so much anymore because I started putting them on my Instagram stories. I would black out the names. So I'm not trying to dox anybody.
What are we saying? What's the content?
Oh, it would just be things like you're sweetie pie, sugar pie, honey bunch. I don't even know. Just really very overly friendly. Like, are you ever gonna be in Baltimore? Wink, wink. Come over and let's have dinner. Things like that.
You got a fan base, Dustin. You got a fan base.
I guess, and it's not. I just don't know what to say because my wife at times has been like, do you get DMs from women that think that you're hot? And I was like, not women, and then it makes you think like, why aren't the women? And then there's now you could therapize for sure. Because then that's a whole corner of my brain that's like, why don't women like me?
Here we go, Dustin. There's something to be said. I mean, I think about that boldness, right? Well, no, I was going to say, men tend to be more. Listen, I was just at comedy. I was at a comedy show. Sarper from 90 Day Fiancé is his name. And he did a whole stand-up thing. And I come from the reality TV show 90 Day Fiancé. Follow me for a second. And Josh and Rob, who are very attractive men, and they're in this franchise of 90 Day Fiancé, they had women lining up to see them. And these women said some pretty bold things to them and are very descriptive. And dare I even say, pawning their daughters off on them. I mean, so, there goes my theory of men are significant. Well, men are bolder than women, but there's some pretty bold women out there. Maybe they just haven't slipped into your DMs yet.
Yeah, or maybe there's a box you're supposed to check when you sign up for Instagram that is supposed to be like, do you want the bold women to find you? And if that's true, I'm glad that box is toggled off, but I also would like to toggle it off for the men too, because it's just not productive on either side. I would rather have the people that are wishing terrible things on my descendants. That feels more in line with what I deserve.
Okay.
I guess.
I was going to say the first thing that come to mind, and I'm not a religious person, and I have no idea where the hell this was coming from. Maybe, me slipping in that algorithm. I was going to say power of the tongue. Power of the tongue, Dustin. Let's not put that out in the universe. We don't want people wishing this on your descendants. But I hear you. Let's balance the flattery. Maybe Lindsay, again, this is why I have to meet her. Maybe she's got a filter for you. Maybe she said, this is why she's going with the rapture, because she's protecting you and she's not letting some of these bold women slip in your DMs.
I can't imagine having the self-esteem to believe that. I think it's much more likely that she won the prize that nobody else wanted. She was playing the carnival game that they let her play for free, and she ended up winning. And now she's got to carry around this life-size stuffed animal for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And I think she's doing a pretty good job of turning me into a functional, like, we got married at 22 and I didn't know. Wow. I had never ironed anything. I didn't know, like, if it stayed in the microwave longer than 30 seconds, I didn't know how to do that. And so she's done a pretty good job of getting me, I think, ready for life. But I'm just a life-size stuffed animal.
I'm pausing because should we leave this in? Should we edit that out? They may get you more followers. That may get you more of the men coming in as stuffed in. That's a whole other topic.
I thought you were pausing because none of that made any sense, which is why I stopped.
Well, that's why I'm concerned, Dustin, because I'm following you and I'm either laughing outside or in my head. I'm trying to stay. Listen, I got questions. The one question that I'm asking on my list is, tell me how the hell you went from glass being an artesian to comedy. I gotta delete this comment now. It's
glass is a lot like comedy in that if you can mold it to, you taught me earlier what a glacier work. I don't know. You told me
a
glazier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a little footnote here. Dustin Anderson from HGTV, who is a glazer, glass artesian. Yeah, we're going to tag you on this, and maybe we'll have a follow-up podcast.
I think, isn't there a WNBA team that's the Glazers? They're probably in
I'm going to need you to do that.
Waco, Texas.
Oh, okay. That's where
Chip and Joanna.
That's where I thought you were from. Where are you in Utah?
I'm in Utah.
You're in Utah. Okay. Sorry, my brain is now bouncing back and forth. How long have you been married to Lindsay? 22 years
We've been
old.
married, we got married at 22 years old, and we're almost 22 years married. So we're 44. We're 43, both of us. Okay. She's a little more 43 than I am. She's older by a couple of months, so she'll be married to me longer than I'm married to her for a while. No, she'll be 44, and then I'll catch up. But it's half our lives we've been married.
That is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
She's
doing a great job. We're all rooting for her.
I know you don't give yourself the credit here. You're doing an amazing job. I mean, the mere fact that you produced 4 daughters and you're still in the mix and you're here in the family, kudos to you.
This is the hardest thing I ever did, was not run when we found out the 4th one was a girl. Like, you know what? Fresh start. Let's go to Milwaukee and try it there.
Therapy back on. This is what I'd like to call fight or flight. Dustin, you are doing the work. This is healing at its best. You're not fleeing. You're there. You're showing up.
I'm fighting. Yeah, it's fight or flight, and I did not flight. I am fighting to make my kids good people.
Now, I do a whole other thing on coping versus healing. We may be doing some coping in this family, but listen, you're doing. I need to speak to Lindsay. There's going to be a follow up to this. You should give yourself some props here.
Well, thank you. And yeah, she is coping. I'm positive. You and she would have a lot, but that's a much longer podcast with you and Lindsay.
That's a much longer talk. So you joke a lot about, speaking of Lindsay, being Lindsay's husband. How much does your family make it into your act?
Well, she's in there a lot.
Yeah.
And I talk about the kid. I'm very protective of the kiddos. You'll never see them in anything that I put out there, unless it's a picture from really a long time ago or something like that. Okay. My most recent podcast episode, my one daughter wanted to do the little intro. So she just jumped on and was like, "Hey, this is Dustin's daughter. Have a great day." And I'll talk about them, but I also, the weird that, like, I wouldn't think that anything I say would resonate to teenage people, but they have friends who will see the stuff I do. So I'm really careful about how I'll involve them.
Absolutely. I totally.
But Lindsay made this choice. So she's all like, no, the gloves are off for Lindsay. She should have known better.
Well, I was going to say, well, she should have known, woulda, coulda, shoulda. We got to be cautious of that. She doesn't have to live with it. So again, yeah, I could see why she's a good person, and she's getting her points. We know where she's going after this life. I always say, you've heard me reference a few times this whole mental health and therapy. I always say laughter is therapy. How do you see it?
Yeah, I agree. I've been to comedy shows where I cannot stop laughing for minutes at a time, and you get this head to toe sort of euphoric feeling that's not like, I mean, I don't have any background with substances or anything. I don't think it's like that, but it's an elevating thing, and you're kind of just a little bit, uplifted for a little while after that.
Yeah.
So I agree with that.
I'm gonna act like a therapist for a second. What we're talking about is serotonin, dopamine, cortisol. So you hit that perfectly. Laughter, it increases the activity of the dopamine and the serotonin. The neurotransmitters are going in the brain. So there is a big connection. Again, why I wanted to meet with you and let people know they may not be aware of what you're doing, and you may not be aware of what you're doing and how these people are walking away, right? You're helping regulate mood and happiness. I mean, you're reducing, all while reducing the cortisol levels. Hats off to you again, Dustin. Look, you win-win. You may or may not be aware of what you're doing, but you're definitely changing lives. Cortisol's tied to chronic stress, and you're helping get rid of that. And I'll leave that there. Hats off.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Is there a weird duality here, though, where you are a therapist and you actually help people confront what needs to be confronted and help them work through things? I am, on the one hand, dealing in, I wrote down serotonin, dopamine, cortisol.
Yeah.
So I am helping on that front. But on the other side of things, I'm putting content on social media where people are self-medicating and avoiding looking at their problems. So in that way, I think I'm your competition. And in fact, I'm my own competition at that point, because I'm part of the problem and I'm part of the solution.
Some would argue, I'll be positive for a second, and I'll say balance. Let's have balance here. So I think you're offering a nice balance. How far, we can't control what's happening in these people's houses, but you're definitely dosing some balance here that I think are affecting people in a positive way. So let's just embrace it.
I like your spin. Let's just embrace it and not think too much about it.
I want you to fill in the blank. I got a sentence here for you. The secret to mental health is blank, but nobody wants to hear it. Take that in mind.
Boring.
The secret to mental health is boring, and nobody wants to hear it.
Yeah, because it's everybody wants the Lucky Charms with the marshmallows, but what you need is the other part that has vitamins and fiber. What you need, I think, is sleep, and you need water, and you need vegetables, and you need to go outside, and you need sunlight, and you need people that you love, and you need to have dinner with those people. And when you feel something terrible, you got to tell them about it, and you got to believe what they say back to you. And none of that is glamorous or fun. It's not shiny. And so what people want is self-medicating with any number of whether it's music, which is great, whether it's comedy, which is great, whether it's whatever your favorite hobby is, which is probably great. But if you just do the fundamental stuff, you're probably gonna overcome most of the things that you are struggling with. There's still gonna be some stuff that you're gonna have to work through, I'm guessing, but boring.
Yeah, I guess I'm the boring piece. You're those little special marshmallows in the cereal.
That's what I meant. Yeah, that's why I didn't mean to insult you like that, but it's absolutely what I meant.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel at times. I mean, we have to talk about the real stuff. Listen.
Is that, by the way, does that jive with when you're talking to people, are you talking about sleep and hydration and diet and relationships and all that?
Yeah, in college, we learned something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And unfortunately, you have to make sure, how can we talk about trying to apply for a job when you're not sleeping and eating properly? So, you're dead. Again, I really think, we're adding this to your resume that you are a life coach and therapist now. You got it. You nailed it. We need those basic things.
Great. Who do I talk to about getting letters behind my name, or like one of those things to put on my wall so that people come in and they will believe what you just said, that
Yeah,
I'm
I
a
think
life
it
coach and
depends.
therapist.
Listen, we all know the world of resumes and working with titles. I think there's something we can throw behind. Let's add that to your. I just had a mind blank. That's probably my age.
I'm just going to put it on LinkedIn and
Yeah,
just be like, yeah,
add that to
Dustin
your.
Anderson therapy.
Absolutely. Listen, I think, okay, I want some credit here, Dustin. Let's throw Dustin Anderson, QJV, and you're certified. Yeah.
QJV. And when people say, what do those letters stand for? I'll just scoff at them and be like, if you don't know, I'm not like, why are you talking to me if you don't know what those letters
I'm
are?
certified, and I can be here to support you because you do know about sleep and nutrition and diet and the marshmallows. I mean, there's a lot here. There's a lot here. I'm so glad. I'm touched that this is amazing. I want to switch gears for a second, and I want to talk about this whole brand. I've been seeing this online, your Unpopular T-shirts, but I want to take it to a different level. So here's a plug. Tell us in 10, 20 seconds what your Unpopular T-shirts are.
Basically, I just started making T-shirts that I wanted to wear that I couldn't find anywhere else. And I thought maybe other people will like them too. And I didn't think they would. So I named it unpopulartshirts.com. And I was right. Nobody wanted to wear them at the beginning, but it's gotten some traction lately. And yeah, people are getting them.
This makes it more special. And I feel like, I'm even more impressed now because, again, when I did my Dustin Anderson research, not only were you a second generation glazer, you were a marketer. And so I was convinced, God, he's brilliant. He has this marketing degree that he's now selling T-shirts. So
glazing and marketing. Yeah.
I could see Unpopular T-shirts now. But here's the thing. I want to do this a little bit different. I want to play a game. So I want to throw some unpopular opinions at you, Dustin. And I want to know, are we going to make these a T-shirt or are we going to bury them? Maybe give them a tombstone.
Okay. New page in the notepad, just in case.
Okay. Here are my prompts. I want you to go. First thing comes to mind. Self-care is overrated.
I do not love it.
Okay.
Mostly because, I'll have a few T-shirts where if I wear them to Walmart, people will stop me and be like, how dare you? And that one, people would stop you and be like, my sister is struggling. And if she sees that shirt, so that's a no.
So this is another, I have to balance this, and I can't laugh right now because I just can't laugh. So, okay, thank you for that. Vacation. Here's the next one. Vacations cause more stress than they fix or help.
Yes, I would make 7 different colors of that T-shirt. That is absolutely true.
Let's do
also, unpopular opinion on vacations. Everybody wants to go to the beach. That's the wrong place to go. You go to the mountains. Go to the pine trees. You want to go lay on a beach next to a couple from Cleveland and everybody's towels right next to each other. The water's too loud. You can't hear. Go up the mountains, the pine trees, the birds. Nobody's up there. And then you could just even stay it's the peace is in the mountains. The chaos is on the beach.
There you go. You heard it first. Vacation planner too. That, especially with a lot of kids, that sounds smart to me. Okay, so that'll be a T-shirt. Here we go. Number 3, last one. Coffee is just it's a socially acceptable addiction.
Yes, but so are most things. I'm not a coffee guy. I'm an energy drink guy. I'm a huge Diet Coke guy. I'm trying to taper down lately.
Yeah.
But scrolling on your phone is a socially acceptable addiction.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift, socially acceptable addiction. Monday Night Football. There are a lot of things. So I don't know that I want to get the tip of that iceberg with the socially acceptable addictions, because I don't know. Eventually, we're all just going to be wearing cardboard and reading Dostoevsky.
Listen, I can't disagree. There is a podcast in here, though. I feel like this is a topic that needs to be addressed because you just mentioned probably the top 5 right off the bat. So I'll just sum this up by saying balance, people, right? Maybe that's the T-shirt.
Balance people. But then is there punctuation in there, or do you have to have a picture of people on like a scale or a seesaw kind of a thing?
Oh, Dustin,
Balance people.
can I request a T-shirt? That's brilliant. I love a good visual. Anytime I'm talking to therapy coaching, I love a good visual. A seesaw. We used to call them teeter-totters.
I almost said teeter-totter.
See?
This is the picture I just drew. It's two people. I don't know if you can see it. Two people. There's a fulcrum in the middle, which I learned from Mrs. Nilsson in 5th grade. And it's people equally balanced. And you got to, I mean, it's balance, comma, people, but you also have to balance your people in your life.
Punctuation's everything. You know, I go back to my Jersey Shore days, and I feel like there was a T-shirt, and it's probably all over the world now, but I got your back, and it's somebody holding the spine. Mm-hmm. Let's do something with this teeter-totter and balance. Hell, I'm gonna be your co-pilot. I'll market this. I'll throw this up on my website. I mean, there's something to be said about achieving balance, and that kid falling off the teeter-totter, whether it's weight or, you know, being mean, sarcasm, there, yeah, that teeter-totter says a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm in. Let's collab.
Dustin, what would your I know you haven't had many experiences with therapy, but let's just say we were inserting a therapist here. What would your therapist say about your act? If you actually had a therapist and they were to watch your act, what would they say?
I think they would say what a lot of people say when they see it, which is, what? Why did you? Here's the thing. With I don't know if this is normal, but which is probably one of the top phrases that you hear people say when they're talking to you. I get to have this feeling a lot because I think my brain doesn't work the same way as other people's. I don't know if everybody feels that, but it seems like everybody else is in lockstep and they're a couple steps ahead and I'm trying to catch up. And in a lot of ways, it's not optimal. But in other ways, I get to have this feeling sometimes like I'm thinking things or seeing things that nobody else gets to see. It's like a color that only I get to see.
So
and it's the feeling of, you ever just like drive home late at night? Maybe it's like 3 a.m. and you're driving through your neighborhood and all the lights are off and you can see all the houses, but there's not a single light. And you're like, I'm the only one awake right now. Nobody gets to see all this except for me. My brain gives me that feeling, whether it's accurate or not, because maybe everybody feels that they're different in the same way. And so the comedy that I do, and this is a long way around to answer your question, but the comedy and like people see some of the stuff I do on stage, and a lot of what I get is, where did you come up with it? And that's honestly, that's from my wife on the drive home. Like, how did you even think about that? Yeah. What happened to you in that 5th grade class, man? Like, what's going on?
So the trauma is really leading your comedy here. You know, Dustin, you lost me. I haven't been up at 3 a.m. in 20 years. So you have a special talent. Your brain can really sit with some of this stuff. And you got a great space for this. As we say now, as we say in the new generation, we're holding space. Dustin, your brain is holding space for you. I'll just ask my rapid fire questions, because the reality is I could ask you about 50 more and keep seeing where your brain goes. But Dustin, I want to know, what brings you joy lately?
It's kids. That's all it is. Everything's kids.
That's a big one. What song makes you want to dance?
Okay. Bury My Bones by Whiskey Myers.
I don't know the song, but I'm going to have to go look it up. Okay.
That's great.
What's your favorite comfort food or guilty snack?
Mike and Ike's.
Wow. You went old. What flavor? Okay, let's see this.
I'm an original guy.
People that are on Spotify and you can't see him. You went old. Okay, just the originals, the fruit flavors.
That's a 1 pound green bag of Mike and Ike's. That is my ultimate comfort food. That bag will last me almost 2 days, probably. No,
okay. Talking comfort addictions, right? Okay, no, I got to stay with my questions. Right. But I will insert that there's something about Jolly Joes or the grape ones.
Oh, where I live, they don't have those. We're
Okay.
not in a culturally diverse area, I guess.
Yeah, we need to get you some diversity. I'll send you some. And then there's also, and they're pretty good. They're different. They're not your original, but there's cotton candies and root beer flavored Mike and Ike's.
What?
Okay, I smell a little care package. I'll send it to you and Lindsay just for the hell of it. Dustin, what grounds you?
Being outside, mowing lawn.
Literally, okay. And then if you have a favorite book to gift someone, what book is it?
The Road by Cormac McCarthy.
Okay.
Dark, hauntingly beautiful novel.
Thank you for that. Dustin, last question. If you could give anyone one piece of life advice to people listening right now, what would it be?
It is probably my best-selling T-shirt, actually. Smart people don't get offended. I gave a TED Talk once called Smart People Don't Get Offended. I truly believe it. It is the hill that I will probably eventually die on.
Wow. I have to admit, I don't know if we're serious or joking now.
Fully serious. I mean, you can take issue with something somebody said, like the worst possible thing somebody could say. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. You don't have to spend time with that person anymore. But to actually internalize it, I think, is a very unintelligent thing to do. It's smarter. Let it bounce off. That person just told you who they are, and you don't have to mess with them anymore.
When I was younger, I know I have a few years on you, we had a saying, rubber glue, right? What bounces off of me and sticks to you.
Uh-huh. Yep. By the time I came along, it was, I know you are, but what am I?
Oh yeah. Legend.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. And thank you for that piece of advice, because here's the reality. People that are navigating social media, people that are in reality TV, people that are doing comedy, we can all relate, whether there's trolls, haters, bullies. That's a message that we need to visualize, take in, and use in our journeys, because it's really important.
I agree. I think so too.
You have been a blast. I could talk to you for hours. I would love to have follow-up podcasts with you. Thank you for your time. It was amazing having this moment, this hour-long podcast with you, and I wish you all the best. Anyone who is listening, please go out and follow Dustin. Give yourself a plug, Dustin. Anything that where to find you, your handles on social media.
It's just at The Real Dustin Anderson on Instagram and TikTok. And then my podcast is pretty new. I've got 12 episodes in, and it's called I Hope This Helps.
I hope this helps. Cheers to I hope this helps to you. And the difference, to go back to my beginning and my intro, you are the real Dustin Anderson. Mic drop. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
All the best, Dustin.
Want to be a guest on Living Life with James? If you got a story or a message that you feel can inspire or help others, message me through my website or DM me on Instagram. I'd love to connect.